Simon.
Max.
Nah, good. Tell me why we're in your house, first of all.
We are filming a video for my channel. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it yet. The big Aston Villa quiz night. That's why there's shirts, a vast variety of shirts on the wall. That doesn't live there all year round. But yeah, big quiz night. Me, you, Dan Bardell and Simon as well. So yeah, that's why we're here.
Yeah, not filmed it yet. Looking forward to taking the crown, hopefully, for that one. The question I want to ask you and all the other lads tonight, Villa aren't going to sign just one player, but if they did, what's the biggest position or the biggest area that Villa have to fix this window?
I'm going to go on a bit of an assumption that Emi Martinez is leaving and go on the whole goalkeeper thing.
To peddle the narrative. That
Look, I don't want him to go. When obviously it was the Tottenham game, wasn't it, where he was crying after it, and I was getting the train back or whatever, and I was getting texts saying, "Oh, have you seen Martinez crying on Sky?" I was like, kind of only spells one thing, doesn't it? One outcome. Wasn't good at all. I can see it both ways. People talking about, oh, he doesn't want to go for money. We don't know what's in his head. His missus is just starting a business, and she was talking about it on Heart FM's breakfast show. It's like, I'm just bored of all the this, that, and the other. People have seen him moving house. I don't know. I'm going to assume that he's going with all the SCR stuff, big wages, massive contract, get him off the book. He's probably the obvious candidate.
And
so
loads of people that reply to this kind of thing all the time going, yeah, but we don't want to sell him.
No, I don't.
Assume that's the reality and that he is going to go.
Yeah.
Obviously, goalkeeper then is a huge department.
Massive. And I think people talk about he didn't have a very good season last year, but the standards were so high and he still, I'd say, won us a lot of points. He commands his box so well, and I think it's vastly underrated. I think having Robin Olsen as the number 2 and him playing, I think he's played quite a lot for a second choice goalkeeper. You can vastly see the drop off massively, and you can probably say that's up to Emi Martinez, and it's probably up to Robin Olsen not being at the level as well. We've seen a second choice goalkeeper nearly being through the door in Bizot. Obviously he's not going to be the number 1, so you need someone to fill those boots, which I don't think is going to be easy at all.
Yeah, and I think because that signing has happened or is about to happen as we record this first, that maybe does lean into the more that maybe we keep Martinez then, as I would think that when we get to the end of the window we have signed 2 goalkeepers.
Yeah, I mean, I think from day one, I think it always had to be 2 goalkeepers, obviously. But I'm not sure. I think people talk about Chevalier. That looks like the obvious one that's going to come in. Someone who's got that experience and is commanding and is confident and has got experience. But it's not going to be easy.
No, it's such a risk, isn't it? Because even if, let's say, it is Chevalier and he has a really good season, is that as good as Emi Martinez's not as good season?
I think we just need to be realistic as fans, and when it does happen and a new number 1 is starting against Newcastle, we need to be realistic. And I know we've had Martinez for 5 years now and our standards are that high. Then we just need to be realistic that we aren't going to have a World Cup winner in goal.
Yeah.
For me, probably the attacking final third, the sort of replacing like Rashford, Asensio kind of thing. I think that's the biggest hole, especially obviously with rumours that Bailey might be going as well. I feel like we're quite light on that sort of top end of the pitch, and so yeah, we got Marlon's come in, which is good. But yeah, for me, I think you really need to be looking at replacing Rashford, Asensio, and obviously you're looking at like the attackers. We've only got an out-and-out striker. You've only got Watkins as well, and so it's got to be that attacking final third for me.
We had a question on our Q&A about whether Rodgers could play as like a main 9, and I think he's got some of the attributes to be able to do part of that. But if we went into any of the season next year with Watkins injured for 10 games and Rodgers is your striker, I mean, that's not ideal, is it? So I would like to have Watkins, Marlon and a third, not necessarily an actual striker, but somebody that can play that role more comfortably. And then maybe they can drop back and play behind Watkins as well, that kind of player.
Yeah, and I think that was what was ideal last year, because we had Rashford, who was essentially brought in to play on the wing, and yet he ended up playing most of the time kind of up front. And so I think he'll probably be targeting a kind of like a versatile player, kind of like that again, who can maybe play up front. We have got Marlon who can potentially do that. I'm not 100% convinced that Marlon is that player for the right wing. I don't know whether you just see him as a bit more of a number 10 or a bit more of a number 9, and so that potentially is the case. But yeah, we definitely need reinforcements up that top end of the third. I think heading into the new season as it currently stands, we're definitely 2 down, aren't we? And so I don't think we'll bring in 2. I think it might be ended up being 1 sort of thing, and obviously utilise Marlon more because he hardly had any minutes in that second half of the season. So yeah, that top end of the pitch I think is a pressing need for us.
It's a classic thing that Marlon's like a new signing because he didn't really play much and he was a new signing in January.
A little bit, and I think maybe one eye was kind of on the summer with that one. I think it might have been a bit of a deal where they thought, right, we'd better take this now kind of thing, but we're looking more towards the following season. So, and I think he showed some real
I'm really excited about
moments.
Marlon.
Yeah, he showed some real good moments. He looks rapid and he's got a right shot on him, and so he's got to get more football this year. He absolutely has to. He was kind of big money. He wasn't brought in to be a squad player. He's been brought in to be one of our main players, and so he's got to be starting the season for me, definitely.
And this wasn't supposed to be a Marlon episode, but what's his kind of goal contribution expectation, do you think? Like double figures in?
Well, heading towards that, I'd say, yeah. I wouldn't like to put that over him, because the 10, over 10 goals is quite a lot, isn't it? But I think heading towards that, sort of 7, sort of 8, if you can contribute that plus, sort of 7, 8, 9 assists as well, I think that would look like a fairly decent season for him. But yeah, it's funny because I think people see Marlon as a bit of like, he's a bit of a squad player, because that's essentially what he was last year. But he was a big signing, and so he needs to really be one of our main guys this year, definitely.
Nice t-shirt, Dan, by the way.
Thanks, mate. I really like yours, actually. Is that something that's going to be for sale at some point?
At some point, yeah. Maybe keep an eye on social media for that. I've already spoke to Simon and Max about an hour ago, so if we look sweaty, it's because we are. We've just been to the pub and back. I've asked them, if Villa can only sign one player, which obviously they won't, what is like the key position that we have to fix?
They might. No,
they can.
They can. I would say probably a right winger.
Ooh, okay.
Because I think we kind of know from like Jacob on the Athletic saying Villa want a wide player, they want a forward, and they want a centre back. Obviously, we have only got one forward, and that's Ollie Watkins. There's not a backup forward there at the moment.
Marlon, me and Simon were talking
Marlon
about
could play as I think that might be what's happened if we don't sign another striker. Marlon might just operate. I quite like that, someone that can play in multiple positions, being the backup forward, because that's what we did the season that we came fourth. I know we didn't do because Duran was the backup forward. But he didn't play much, did he?
No.
Duran in that season. I quite like Watkins knowing that he's playing every week. I like the multifunctional option. I think that's how you have to operate when you get to our level and you've got a big number 9 that wants to play every week. Personally, that's how I think the best way is to operate. But it's hard to do. I think
you want somebody who's going to, if Watkins is out for 3 or 4 games, they play up front.
Yeah.
But if Watkins is in the team, they play behind him.
Yeah, exactly. Or on the wing. Yeah. And I think basically, when Bailey had an off-season last season, I'm not going to pretend to say anything else. The season before, he was so critical to what we did. He was arguably actually player of the season, and I think when we had him there, but when he didn't play, or the fact he was bang off form, I think we just really suffered just not having any width on that side, really. Whereas the width from the left-hand side, we know that's always going to come from the left back. Whereas on the right-hand side, I just feel we haven't quite got the balance right. Last season, like sometimes McGinn plays there. Rodgers has obviously been playing there as well. Marlon had a couple of games there, I think. But I'd just like to see that genuine, like basically what Leon Bailey was a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, if you could reignite what Bailey was the year before last and put him into this team now, that's kind of the perfect solution. But Warren Bailey's probably going to leave anyway.
I think he might. He could end up staying. I do genuinely believe he might end up staying.
I don't think he will.
No.
That's not like, we know something.
No.
Basically, when you said then he had an off-season last year, you could argue that in his time here, he's had one on-season.
Yeah, 1 of 4.
Yeah,
me and Max did a show the other day, and we said the same thing, can you say someone's been a moderate success when they've had one good season out of 4? But I think that one season that he did have,
it was an
exceptional season. But we definitely missed that last season. That's probably the right-hand side is probably the area that people look at and think is not quite right, but I think people quite often point the finger at the right-back area, whereas I think it's further up.
I think it's
both.
The
problem. Oh, you think both?
I think it's both. Again, whether the finances allow is one thing, but I think if Emery could click his fingers and do whatever he wanted, I think there'd be a new right-back and a right-winger. I think he'd overhaul that side.
I still don't think we'll sign a right back. I think because we're in the Europa League, he'll go with Cash and Garcia will play a lot in the Europa League group stages, and depending if we sign a centre back or not, maybe someone spend some time a right centre back playing right back like we've done previously.
But I suppose for that position, you've got those options. Where
Bogard as well. I think if we don't sign a centre back, it's not the end of the world in the first half of the season. Give Bogard a chance, see how he does, play him in the Europa League group stage, and see how he gets on. Whereas I just think right wing, if we could have a left-footed winger who can hold width and be direct, I'm not saying sign these players because obviously Madueke is going to Arsenal, but just someone like that.
Yeah.
I think, or Bakayoko, who's been linked with a host of Premier League teams. I think we're missing that pace and that kind of electricity down the right-hand side, someone cutting in but actually holding the width, because the width on the left-hand side is really good. Yeah. It always comes from the left-back, so I don't want to see Rodgers playing out there. I think McGinn actually is better from the left when he plays as a left 10, because we obviously line up more with a left 10 than a right 10. I think for me that would be the priority, but I guess other people have said different.
Yeah, all three of you said somebody different and that wasn't planned, and we'd like to hear what people think in the comments as well. So get involved in the conversation and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.